When did fast food restaurants become the same price as a 5-star fucking restaurant? I stopped to get my girlfriend's son just one Whopper. No combo, just a Whopper, and I'm starving. So I said, fuck it. Haven't had one in a long time. It's been a while. I want a Whopper. And even though I went to the shithole Burger King, because everywhere in Minnesota, every Burger King is ran by a shit fuck.
Fast, cheap, tasty, and always there whenever you need it. That used to be the promise America's fast food industry made to all of us. But by 2026, everything had turned upside down. Thousands of locations belonging to chains that once dominated America are being wiped off the map. Names that once filled towns and highways now live only in the memories of the middle class. It all started when the promise that the customer comes first became the first thing to be sacrificed. So what is really happening inside America's fast food chains? Why are customers turning their backs on the very brands they trusted for decades? In this video, we're going to expose what is causing America's fast food chains to lose customers at an alarming rate, who is benefiting and who is paying the price. More importantly, I'll show you how to avoid staying trapped in something called fast food. Watch until the end and you'll realize that fast food is not the only thing in decline.
I mean, I remember back in the day, you could eat McDonald's for like $3.50. Now it's like, for two people, it's $23. When all we ate, all I got was 2 meals. It's crazy. Everything is so expensive.
It was $32 for a sandwich. $32.
Have you ever wondered how an industry that was once built around comfort and familiarity now makes people want to leave as quickly as possible? And when that happens, the biggest question is no longer whether fast food tastes good. The question should be why this entire industry is losing the very thing that made people love it in the first place. The answer starts with money. Americans are beginning to realize that things are no longer normal. Fast food brands are raising their menu prices across the board. You heard that right. Walk into just about any fast food restaurant near your home and the prices will make you think you're buying food at an airport. But hold on, this is where it gets interesting. Because what bothers people is not just that prices are going up, it is also the feeling of asking, why am I paying more but getting less? That is when the math stops making sense. Fast food exists because of one incredibly simple promise. It is cheap, fast, and good enough to be worth the money you spend. But then the major chains started forgetting the worth the money part. According to the reported figures menu, prices have risen by about 60% over a decade, and McDonald's alone is said to have nearly doubled its prices. According to the same source, 62% of Americans say they are eating less fast food, while about 80% now see it as a luxury expense. Those numbers make more sense when you compare them with what customers are saying. One person said 2 meals that used to cost $14 now cost nearly $30 while their wages have not doubled. Someone else said a meal for one person can cost as much as $25, while a family of 5 in an expensive area can spend close to $100. That is why memories of the $1 menu are coming back. A lot of people remember when $5 could buy quite a bit at McDonald's or Subway. They do not just remember a low price, they remember when an ordinary meal did not have to become a financial decision. In my opinion, the problem is not that businesses should never raise prices. Ingredients, rent, and wages can all go up. But when customers are paying more while the portions are not getting bigger, the quality is not becoming more consistent. And the overall satisfaction is going down. Companies cannot explain everything by pointing to costs. When this happens to me, I stop automatically choosing the drive-thru just because it feels familiar. I look at the total bill, compare it with a home-cooked meal or a local restaurant, and ask myself what I'm actually paying for. Once the price advantage disappears, customers start looking more closely at everything else. Then they realize something even more bitter. A lot of places are not just cheap anymore. The word fast is now only left on the sign. This person walks into the restaurant, orders exactly 1 sandwich, and is told by an employee that the wait will be about 25 minutes. 25 minutes for 1 sandwich. That is ridiculous, because if customers are willing to wait nearly half an hour, they could easily go to a regular restaurant, order something prepared, with more care, and possibly have a better experience. But they choose fast food because they are in a hurry. They go there to buy back time, not to sit there watching the clock. In my opinion, that is the real product this industry sells. The sandwich is just what comes inside the paper bag. What customers are really paying for is a few minutes of saved time. Americans pull into the drive-thru when they only have 30 minutes left in their lunch break. They stop after a long shift when there are hungry kids in the car, or when they no longer have the energy to go home and cook. They do not necessarily believe it is the best food in the area, they just need it to come out fast, hot, and exactly the way they ordered it. But more and more customers say they are waiting 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or even longer. Some people order ahead online hoping to save time, but when they arrive, they still have to stand around waiting, sometimes even longer than someone who just drove up. By the time they get their food, the fries are soggy, the sandwich is cold, and the whole point of ordering ahead has almost disappeared. Waiting a long time is already frustrating. Waiting a long time for a cold meal makes people feel like their time is not valued at all. The reasons may be different from one restaurant to another. One location may have to handle customers at the counter. The drive-thru app orders delivery orders and pickup customers all at the same time. Meanwhile, many people suspect that some locations are operating with fewer employees, reduced hours, and shift managers who are expected to handle far too much. A self-ordering kiosk cannot fry the fries, pack the bags, wipe the tables, or fix an incorrect order. When 4 people have to do the amount of work that used to be assigned to 5, a modern screen in the lobby cannot make the kitchen move any faster. And I do not think the employees behind the counter should have to take all the anger. Customers are being forced to wait, but workers are also being forced to run. Both sides are frustrated, while the operating system that created the situation is barely visible to either of them. The problem is that wait time is also part of the price. Customers are not just paying with money. They are also paying with minutes from their day that they can never get back. An average meal can still be forgiven when it is fast. But when customers are paying more and waiting longer, there's almost nothing left of the old promise. And after all that waiting, what is inside the bag sometimes does not even look like the food on the advertisement. But the long wait is still not the most disappointing part for customers. That part usually comes the moment they open the bag. The advertisement shows a thick burger cheese melting evenly down both sides, fresh green lettuce and crisp golden fries. Everything is arranged so perfectly that it makes people believe this meal will at least be worth the money they just paid. But the actual food sometimes tells a completely different story. The burger has been squashed flat. The patty is thinner than expected. The lettuce is pushed off to one side. The fries are already soggy before the customer even leaves the parking lot. Some items are packed in a rush, missing ingredients, or simply do not look like what appeared on the ordering screen. Of course, nobody really expects a burger in real life to look exactly like a photo taken under a professional lighting. Advertising always makes products look more appealing, but there still has to be a reasonable limit. Customers are not asking for the food to be perfect, they just want what is inside the bag to come close enough to the promise they just paid to believe. And this is where the frustration starts to grow. A customer may overlook one slightly flattened burger when the meal is still cheap. But when the price has risen sharply compared with what they remember, that every thin patty, every serving of cold fries, and every missing item becomes harder to accept. In the comments, many people describe a very similar pattern. Prices go up, portions get smaller, and quality goes down. One person said the current portion is only about 2/3 the size it used to be. Someone else said the patties keep getting thinner while the bill keeps getting bigger. These are personal experiences and cannot represent every restaurant, but when the same feeling keeps coming up again and again, it shows that customer trust is being worn away. And the real value of a brand is not found in the best looking picture it can create. It is found in the most ordinary meal the customer actually receives. And the irony is that while customers are complaining about increasingly inconsistent quality, the chains are investing more heavily in apps, self-ordering kiosks, and more advanced sales systems. The next question is this: is all that technology making the meal better, or is it mainly helping companies sell more efficiently? While customers complain about high prices, long wait times, and increasingly inconsistent food, fast food chains keep making changes. But the most obvious changes are not happening inside the sandwich. They are happening in the way the sandwich is sold. Ordering apps, rewards programs, self-service kiosks, online orders, artificial intelligence taking orders at the drive-thru. Everything is introduced with the same promise: faster, more convenient, and fewer mistakes. In theory, that sounds perfectly reasonable. Customers can choose their food ahead of time, pay in advance, and then just show up to pick it up. But the more people use these systems, the more they realize they were not designed only to save time. They were also built to make customers come back more often and spend more each time they buy. Rewards programs are the clearest example. Every order moves customers a little closer to a reward. The app sends notifications about discounted items points that are about to expire, or deals that are only available for a few hours. There may be a free item waiting at the end, but before customers get it, they may have already come back several times. According to figures cited by experts, the most active 20% of members generate about 55% to 70% of the revenue from these programs and spend 2 to 3 times as much as regular customers. At Starbucks, rewards members generate nearly 60% of their revenue at company-operated stores in the United States, even though customers may have to spend close to $200 to earn one free item. What frustrates consumers is that reasonable prices are increasingly being pushed into the app. The prices on the menu board may be high, while better deals only appear after customers download the app, create an account, and sign in. A meal that used to be considered affordable now feels like a benefit that comes with conditions to pay less. You first have to enter the brand system. Self-ordering kiosks create a similar contradiction. Customers find the food themselves, choose the size themselves, add ingredients themselves, check the price themselves, and pay by themselves. But when the screen stops working, an item cannot be found, or an order needs to be changed, they still have to look for an employee who is already busy handling several other tasks. And no matter how advanced the ordering system may be, the machine still cannot fry the fries, check the food, pack the bag, or fix an order with missing items. When orders from the counter, drive-thru app, and delivery services all pour into an understaffed kitchen, technology can make orders arrive faster than the kitchen can handle them. Some viewers have also noticed that stores have more machines but fewer employees, while cleaning, maintenance, and customer support have become slower. These are personal experiences, and do not represent every location, but they show the gap between the promise of technology and the actual experience. Technology has made selling food much more sophisticated, but after all the app's reward points and touchscreens, customers are still asking one very simple question: how exactly has my meal gotten better? There is something that many people living outside the United States may not fully understand. Fast food used to be more than just food. It was once part of a shared memory, as familiar as gas stations, ball fields, or the sound of a television coming from the living room. You could change schools, switch jobs, leave your hometown, or move to another state. But the McDonald's near the highway would still be there like an old landmark, reminding you that some things in life seem like they would never change. During the 1980s, 1990s, and early 2000s, every chain still had its own distinct personality. Pizza Hut had its red tile roofs. Taco Bell was covered in bold purple. Wendy's had glass dining rooms filled with sunlight. McDonald's once felt more like a playground for children than a place where you simply picked up your food and left.
This is a work of art. This is bullshit. This is a work of art. This is bullshit.
There were slides, ball pits, giant sandwich-shaped seats, and play areas that, looking back, probably were not places any parent would want to inspect too closely for cleanliness. But children loved them. Parents could sit there eating fries while the kids ran around like they had just been set free. It may sound a little funny, but fast food used to feel very human. It was where families had dinner on weekends. Teenagers gathered after a game, workers stopped on their way home from a shift, and college students bought a cheap meal at 1 in the morning while promising themselves they would live healthier tomorrow. At its peak, McDonald's served nearly 70 million customers every day worldwide. Very few brands have ever become that deeply woven into everyday life. But then the things that once made these places feel familiar began to change. A family meal at many major chains can now come close to $40. Stores are increasingly organized to process more orders, bring customers back more often, and generate steadier revenue. Well, for many customers, the feeling of being served has gradually been replaced by the feeling that they are moving through a carefully calculated sales system. The franchise model played a major role in that change. McDonald's proved that each new location did more than sell sandwiches. It could also generate rent franchise fees and recurring royalty payments, while most of the operating costs and risks were passed on to the local store owner. This model helped chains expand incredibly quickly, but it also gave some brands more and more power. Franchise chains now account for about 75% of fast food revenue. Among the 20 largest chains in the United States, only 2 brands were founded within the past 50 years, and none of them were created in the 21st century. The 10 dominant brands also account for about 44% of the sales generated by the 500 largest restaurant chains. That does not mean new brands cannot appear, but to compete nationwide, they have to go up against systems with thousands of locations and massive advertising budgets, prime real estate, and purchasing power that small businesses have a hard time matching. And that is the deepest change of all. Fast food was once built to be a pleasant part of American life. Today, more and more customers are wondering whether those familiar memories are still enough to keep them coming back. And honestly, I believe you can see this for yourself. Americans are no longer sitting around waiting for these brands to change. More accurately, they are tired of all the nice promises while the bills stay high and the experience barely gets any better. There was no single day when the entire country announced that it was turning its back on fast food. The change happened much more quietly. It began with individual families, individual bills, and individual moments when someone decided not to turn into the drive-thru like they normally would. And customers are responding in 3 different ways. The first group chooses to pay a little more for better food. When a fast food meal already costs $15 or $20, the difference between that and a local restaurant or a place with table service is no longer very large. One customer said they would rather pay $25 at a family-owned restaurant than spend $15 on a fast food meal that did not feel worth the money. It is not that they want to spend more. They just want their money to get them fresher food at more reasonable portions, and the feeling that they are being treated properly. The second group goes in the opposite direction. They cut back and return to eating at home. They make sandwiches, prepare food ahead of time, bring lunch to work, eat leftovers, or buy frozen food. With the same amount of money they would spend on one visit to a restaurant, they can make several meals. Cooking at home is not always easy. Many people work long hours, take care of children, or simply have no energy left after a long day. But the fact that they are willing to spend more time cooking shows that fast food has become so expensive that convenience is no longer convincing enough. Fast food used to sell time to busy people. Now many people are willing to spend more time in order to keep more of their money. The third group goes even further. They greatly reduce how often they eat out. They do not switch to another restaurant. They do not look for a cheaper version either. They simply give up the habit of eating fast food every week and only buy it during long drives while traveling or when they have no other option. According to figures cited by experts, 62% of Americans surveyed said they are eating less fast food. That does not mean all of them have stopped completely, but it does show that consumer behavior is clearly changing. This may be the most worrying response for the chains. Once customers have learned how to live without stopping by regularly, a coupon or a new menu item may not be enough to bring them back. For me, the choice is pretty simple. When I have time, I prepare food at home. When I have to eat out, I compare the total fast food bill with the cost of eating at a local restaurant, and when the difference is only a few dollars, I choose the place that makes me feel like my money is being respected. One group pays more for better food. One group cooks at home to save money. The other group stops buying it. 3 different paths, but they all lead to the same result. Fast food is no longer the automatic choice in American life that it once was. Fast food in the United States is losing the 3 promises that once made it popular, cheap, fast, and worth the money. The problem today is not caused only by inflation or rising wages. At a deeper level, several changes are happening at the same time. Higher prices, quality that customers believe has declined longer. Wait times, less consistent experiences, and operating costs that continue to put pressure on individual stores. But the most important issue is not the smaller sandwich or the larger bills, it is trust. Once customers begin to feel that they are paying more for an experience that provides less and less value, they will change their habits. They may choose a better restaurant, return to cooking at home, or greatly reduce how often they eat out. And once a new habit has formed, a new menu item or discount program may not be enough to bring them back. In my opinion, this is the biggest challenge the fast food industry will face in the years ahead. What do you think about this issue? Do not forget to leave a comment. I'll see you in the next video.